How's it going, everybody? Stoud's coming back at you again. This time around, I'm going to give you my top 5 movies to watch during the Halloween season. Now, every year there's a few movies that I like to watch for Halloween, religiously. Most of them are connected to Halloween in some way, but some of them aren't. The first one I'm going to show you, in fact, is not. But it's just something I like to watch every time this time of year. And yeah, so I'm going to show you my top 5 movies that I watch around this time of year in sequence from, I guess most connected to Halloween to least connected in a way. And, you know, uh, best to worst, although I really do love all of these movies. First on the list, number 5 is Poltergeist, the original Poltergeist. I have this on Blu-ray, the Digibook. Um, Very nice Digibook, by the way. An amazing movie by Steven Spielberg. Also one of the movies that I feel like is another connection in some way to Stanley Kubrick. He loves Stanley Kubrick. If you watch his movies with the idea of like picking out things that Stanley Kubrick would have done, or things that Stanley Kubrick touched on or hinted at or did himself in his own movies, you'll notice things. Now, of course, this is directed by Tobe Hooper, but a strong influence from Steven Spielberg, as he tends to have a strong influence in pretty much every movie that he's ever, executive produced or helped produce. So he definitely had something to do with this Steven Spielberg production, and it's definitely got the Spielberg feel, honestly. Tobe Hooper again worked with Steven Spielberg again when he did an episode of Taken, which is another one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite television series of all time. I don't really like to watch it around Halloween, although it can be a little creepy from time to time. It's really not like a Halloween type of movie. It's not like a creepy, scary kind of thing. This one always scares the crap out of me because, there's just something about it. The way that it all unfolds. Like the guy ripping his face off. The freaking, the model work. Everything. The tree eating the kid. The fact that those skeletons in the water, when she keeps falling down in the water, were real fucking skeletons. There's just something incredibly creepy and atmospheric about this film. And of course, the house was built on an ancient Indian burial ground. Guess what else was built on an ancient Indian burial ground? The hotel in The Shining. I know it's like grasping at straws, but I swear it's a little connection because that came out in 1980. This came out in 1982, I believe. Sometime around then. 1982. So I feel like there's a small connection there. Like he saw what Kubrick did and wanted to do something similar to that, and it really does have kind of a shining feel to it in this film, at least a little bit. And it's just got this creepy atmospheric feeling to it, which is why I even do like to watch the Poltergeist sequels, 2 and 3, which I have on DVD here. I believe Poltergeist 2 is on Blu-ray, but Poltergeist 3 is not on Blu-ray, at least not here in the States. So I've just decided to keep this double feature here. It comes on one standard flipper disc, but yeah, I like actually the second movie quite a bit too. Because if you watch the second movie and first I would request that you watch Night of the Hunter, a classic, I think it's Billy Wilder maybe, I can't remember exactly. But classic creepy thriller from the 50s starring Robert Mitchum as the bad guy. And Robert Mitchum in this movie, he plays he's trying to pretend to be a preacher basically. He's not really a preacher, but he's pretending to be a preacher, right? And there's a scene in the movie. There's these scenes in the movies where he's singing this creepy. He's singing this, old hymn in this creepy, long, drawn-out, scary way. He makes it really scary and creepy to hear that song. And Similarly, there's a scene in this movie where there's a preacher who's not really a preacher, and he keeps showing up and talking to, the kids in the movie, and then to the parents in the movie, and when he shows up, every time he shows up, he's singing a creepy song. And if you look at how he's dressed almost exactly the same way as Robert Mitchum was dressed in Night of the Hunter. It, to me, is a very clear and in-your-face reference to Night of the Hunter. And I like that about that. I like when they reference like classic, excellent horror thriller movies in newer horror thriller movies. And it's especially interesting for this because nobody really picked up on it because it's a sequel to Poltergeist, and people think a sequel is stupid. Sequel's never as good as the original. But in this case, I think it was, and I think it actually does add something to the original. Although there's a little bit more campy cheesiness to these. And the third one, I feel like, is just a blatant attack on consumerism and on modernism in general. So, if you haven't seen these in a while, I highly suggest you check them out. There's more to them than just being simple sequels. They're definitely not the same as this, but they're still really freaking good in their own rights. So, I highly suggest that. So, let's just get the hell off of Poltergeist and move on to my fourth favorite. Now, this is a new addition to the favorites list, but Trick or Treat, I mentioned recently. I just picked this up, and I'm glad to have it in the Blu-ray collection, but I've been watching it every year for the past few years during Halloween because it's a really great Halloween-themed film. And again, if you haven't seen it, you definitely need to check it out. And I've already said a lot about this during my video where I showed you that I got it. So, yeah, I picked this up for $5, and this year I might actually check out some of the special features because I never got a chance to do that when I'm watching it on Netflix. So, yeah, I love anthology horror films like this, and this one's all themed around how Halloween makes it perfect for Halloween. That's number 4 on my list. Number 3, I believe, will be Space Invaders. Space Invaders is actually just a silly, fun little family romp. But what's really cool about it is that it's all based around the War of the Worlds, the story of the radio play that tricked a lot of people or convinced a lot of people that we actually were being invaded by Martians from outer space, and in reality we weren't. They had to say, no, this isn't real. It's just, it's just a radio play. We weren't actually being serious. We're not being invaded and stuff like that. And it's all based around that because in this movie, the same thing happens. There's a radio play of the War of the Worlds, and then, in this case, Martians actually do fall down to Earth. These guys. And honestly, if you haven't seen this, but you remember things like Flight of the Navigator and, E.T. and family films like that from the 80s that were kind of, set in the whole alien thing, but they're, more family friendly and down to earth, and they got the 80s feel to it, then you're going to love this. Stars Royal Dano, who is the guy who plays like the farmer with the dog kind of character in Killer Clowns from Outer Space, if you remember that guy, if you've seen that movie. And I swear to God, he plays the exact same character in this movie. He plays an old farmer with an old dog, and it might even be the exact same dog for all I know, because I swear it's just the same fucking character. And I mean, I love this movie. It's Killer Clowns in Outer Space for kids, essentially. And it's set on Halloween night. It all takes place on Halloween night, so the kids are all dressed up in costumes and stuff like that. And everybody at first is thinking that these aliens are actually just kids dressed up in Halloween costumes to look like aliens. So it's funny, it's silly, it's cool. I mean, I don't know. I really liked this when I was a kid, and I still like it now. And to me, there's a lot of connections to be made between this and Flight of the Navigator as well. So if you haven't seen this, or if it's been a while since you've seen it, I highly suggest you pick it up. Very good movie. The DVD is, you know, bare bones, but it looks nice. You know, it'll do. And I believe the people who worked on this film also did a movie called something 77 about the Star Wars release. But it's never been released on DVD or Blu-ray or anything, to my knowledge. And I've never had a chance to see it. So, like, I really want to see it, but I've never been able to find it anywhere. Anyways, next up would be. I'm going to go out of order here because I know a lot of people are going to get on my case about this. But yes, number 2 on my list is going to be Halloween. Of course, John Carpenter's Halloween. How can you say no to that? How can you not put that in the top 5 Halloween movies list? It's one of the movies I like to watch during the Halloween season, of course, because it's Halloween. And honestly, I don't like many of the sequels. I mean, they're okay, but they're not great. But a lot of people said that this Blu-ray wasn't really a good transfer either, and they are saying that the new Blu-ray has a better transfer. It might have been, I don't know. I don't know what it is about this. I actually like this release better. I feel like it's great. It's perfect. It's exactly what we need, or exactly what I wanted from a Halloween Blu-ray release. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind getting the digibook as well. It's just that it's not even really a digibook, and it's the colors feel way too muted to me. Maybe it's just me, but the colors feel way too muted. But for the special features and everything, I'd still like to get that. And I'm still trying to get Halloween 2 for the special features of Terror in the Isles. I want to see that. But I haven't been able to get the money to be able to afford that. So, of course, I'm just stuck watching this, which I watch every Halloween, of course. Great Halloween movie. And also I watch this, typically, usually, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I know it has nothing to do with the original Halloween movie, but, you know, it is based around Halloween. And it's got that catchy Halloween, 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 what is it, Halloween, Silver Shamrock, which I end up quoting every time around this time of year. So, yeah. There's that. I know it's on Blu-ray too, but I haven't picked it up yet. What you gonna do? I haven't seen the Rob Zombie movies either, and I really want to see the new Rob Zombie Halloween movies because I've heard bad things and I've heard good things. So I just want to experience them for myself. Last but not least, finally, this one is probably going to shock some of you and not others, but yes. E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial. I guess I lied about connections to Halloween in a way, because this is less connected than a lot of the other ones, but there is actually a scene, one of the significant scenes in this film takes place during Halloween. And it's always been something that I watch during the Halloween season because of that. It's got a creepy-esque Halloween feel to it, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. So of course I'm gonna, watch it during the Halloween movies or Halloween season or whenever I can get the chance to watch it, really. So yeah, I like watching E.T. around Halloween. It's probably my favorite movie to watch during the Halloween season. So yes, I'm putting it number 1. I'm sorry if that disappoints some of you, but yeah. And this is the Steelbook, of course, which is beautiful. I had a little bit of trouble getting it originally, but it's mine now. And there's the inside. It's a really, really nice steelbook, really nice Blu-ray, and a fucking fantastic film, obviously. So, there you have it. Those are my top 5 movies to watch during the Halloween season. Leave a comment below and let me know what you like to watch during the Halloween season. I would be very interested to see that. Thank you for watching. Catch you later. Peace.